All right. Well, I want to talk about this. Here, I'm gonna un. Yeah, I want to talk about this story because I think it's really, really interesting. Essentially, it's saying it started from a Forbes article, but then this blog is kind of talking about the Forbes article, about zombie chains and why they stick around. And I think there's some legit points in it, but I also the coins they chose I thought were a little strange. So we're gonna look at this story, and I'm kind of give my reaction to it because it actually kind of ticked me off a little bit. Let's see. So Laura Shin posted this. She's a crypto journalist, has a pretty big following. She says, why many zombie blockchains are still worth billions of dollars. Many blockchains are able to maintain huge valuations despite having minimal developer activity and usage. So I can see that. We'll get to some reactions in a second here. We find as having massive market caps with little usage, zombie blockchains have gigantic valuations for reasons other than their fundamentals. When a public company falters and is delisted to the penny stock arena, trading grinds to a halt and its valuation plummets as stockholders cut their losses and move on. Equities trade upon a set of near universal fundamentals that take the rise and fall of their company's fortunes into account. A cadre of blockchains, however, demonstrate that crypto loyalists have been playing by different rules, and what they're worth may have more in common with putting a price on a Chanel purse or a Hermes scarf. Referred to as zombie blockchains, these networks have minimal developer activity, few active wallet addresses. Keep this phrase in mind. This is going to be a really important phrase. Oops. Referred to as zombie blockchains, these networks have minimal developer activity, few active wallet addresses, little transaction demand, or a combination of all three, yet are able to maintain massive valuations. Reasons appear to be a combination of their intangible qualities, longevity in surviving multiple crypto cycles, and the presence of loyal adherents avidly promoting their favorite networks. This, by the way, is really, really true. And I've said all along that they talk about fundamentals. Actually, I think from what I found, fundamentals aren't as important as this. It's the presence of loyal adherents avidly promoting their favorite networks. So if you're wondering why something like Shiba Inu is way higher up on the market cap and seems to have better price action than something like Algorand, it's because of stuff like this. People just get really, really excited about certain coins. I don't know why. They apply to meme coins and meme coins take off. Let's skip ahead a little bit because they just kind of like go blah, 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 blah. It's all the same. Okay, Forbes recently classified 20 blockchains as zombies based on the fact that they have had valuations of more than $1 billion. They had, not have, despite the fact that they are unproven and have little utility other than for speculative trading. Now, what are the 20 you might be expecting meme coins in this? It's XRP, Cardano, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Internet Computer Protocol, Ethereum Classic, Stellar, Stacks, Caspa, Phantom, Monero, Arweave, Algorand, Flow, Multiverse, Bitcoin SV, Mina is also in there, Tezos, Theta, and EOS. So EOS is the one that I've heard is pretty much a dead coin. They said representatives for 15 of these blockchains did not return Unchained's request for comment. We're going to get into that. It seems to kind of be untrue, actually, but we'll get to that. So this is why, and it's not just that Algorand is like Cardano is in there too. And while I think Cardano's development hasn't been as good as Algorand, I find it really odd for that to be in there. And the Monero's function is more about privacy. So I don't think its function is to be built on top of. I mean, I'm sure you can. I don't know much about the Monero ecosystem, to be honest, but privacy coins, that's their function more than so to to look at them the same way seems kind of silly. Now I don't know about Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash. XRP's been a little disappointing. Internet Computer Protocol, though, that seems maybe like an odd one to include. And I was kind of surprised to see Mina. Tezos too. I used to have a lot of Tezos, but I never really played around with the ecosystem much. But Algorand in particular, I thought was crazy. So I want to go back. I had All right, so this was mine. We're gonna get to the Algorand CMO had a reaction. We're gonna get to this. I said, "Do people who write about crypto actually know anything about crypto? I've highlighted plenty of problems with Algorand, plenty. But calling it a zombie chain when an entire airline is minting its tickets on chain, when one of the few active and functioning blockchain real estate companies is operating on it, when an entire payment service in Afghanistan is operating on it, when the Red Cross is building its disaster relief wallet on it, when the Bank of Italy is settling its insurance layer on the chain, and it's being tested by the Bank of Europe for settlement, then when you call it a zombie chain, I don't know what the F you're talking about." I think it's crazy. Now, you could argue, before I even look at the comments, I bet there's one at least because I haven't looked at my comments in a while. As you can see, some days I just don't want to deal with it. Um, I know that I sound like a pro algo person, but I would have made the same if they included Hedera on, which Hedera is basically Algorand, but not quite as but newer, but also like they probably developed a little faster than Algorand, if I'm being honest. In some cases, they have a real estate platform too, but as far as I can tell, it's not live yet. But I don't know how. I listen. It's totally legitimate to say Algorand should be farther along than it is, but to call it, we looked at active monthly active users too. Algorand ranks at one of the higher ones. So it's wild. Let's see if I got any. Laura's OG, short laps around you, except make an actual argument. Function of price action. Well, seems like a hit piece. Marv all over it. Yeah. Let's go to that because big fan of the okay, so Marv, this is or Mark, I can never remember his actual name. But this is the CMO of Algorand, the chief marketing officer, the new one, who I think is doing pretty well so far. So he said, big fan of the show, not so much of this article, and we're disappointed we didn't get a chance to react. Always happy to come on your show and talk about this and more important topics like how we're mainstreaming blockchain development with our native Python implementation. Oh, and the zombies are biting back and hosting an X tomorrow with participation from Algorand Foundation. And this is Charles. This is Cardano, Tezos, ETC Cooperative. What is ETC? Ethereum Classic and Bitcoin Cash. Highly recommend it. And Mars Comic is dropping a free mint as a memento. Oh, Sage actually responded. He said, hey, Mark, it's Sage. The reporter wrote this piece. I get you. I'm also disappointed that y'all didn't get a chance to react because I did reach out to Algo Foundation on Twitter, but didn't receive a response. Still open to chatting. Hey, Sage, thanks for the reaction. We'll be in touch. Sorry for missing your message on X. Unfortunately, it's very hard for us to distinguish between what is real and what is fake. We get a lot of fake stuff in our inbox. Regular press channels are a more reliable way of reaching us. Okay, so I don't think he's kind of just saying, he's just saying like, hey, maybe that's not the best way to get a hold of it. But I've been reached out to by the foundation on their Twitter account, so they clearly use it that way. They've got a lot of people working on this stuff. Like when I set up my last interview with John Allen Woods, I had to go through I had to deal with two people, separate people helping the schedule, which I thought was insane. But anyway, JT says, I don't even know how a reporter for one of the biggest crypto news outlets thought a simple DM from an account with 1.2 thousand followers without any prior comms would think a DM like this would be assumed to be a scam. Kind of amazing, to be honest. So by request, you mean a DM from a random account on one of the most spam social networks. I don't know. I'm kind of sympathetic towards this because this is something I do for a living, and I've had it multiple times where I've reached out through what I think is the official channel, and then someone will be like, "Oh, well, you didn't respond it in this way or that way." It's like, well, but that's different for everybody. So I think if you're gonna have a Twitter account, and listen, like when I reach out to people through their Twitter, most of the time they get back to me. I think it's actually one of the better ways to do it. So I don't, and I'm glad to see JT's back in the game. But I don't agree with him here. I think a DM. I think you could do a pretty quick check to find that. You could do a pretty quick check to find that it's legit and not a scam. So I think they were just a little asleep at the wheel, and I don't know when did they post that? Let me see. Posted on the 25th, and they reached out on the he reached out. So he came 10 days, dude. He went 10 days. It's not so he gave him a lot of time. I don't I think that part is probably legit, but what I disagree with is the characterization for all the reasons I just said. The fact that we are on, an airline calling it a zombie chain, I think is just such a joke. It's such a joke. Where does the information come from? And they don't cite any data for why they think it's a zombie chain. Because I would like to see it. Like you give like general comments, but you don't say like, hey, here's 3 reasons why we think it's a zombie chain. Here's the monthly active users. Here's the developers, hardly any. Here's this and that. Those all could have been used to make a case, but no case was made. Like I said, I mean, if you're talking about price action, yeah, Algorand it's been a rough go of it. Like its price action sucks. I'll say it out loud. I've said that many, many times before. It's not good. Okay. So I'm not defending it from that angle. And I know since I have the .algo, I'm actually thinking about removing that. One of the only reasons I don't is because my loyalty to non-fungible domains, who I think is doing great work. It's the only reason I leave it on there. But I'm thinking about taking it out because I'm really starting to cover other stuff like Hedera and Sui. And also because when you defend it, then people go, "Oh, you're just an algo guy, so of course you're going to defend it." But I think I made a pretty good case. And I love this one. Just says, "Oh, Laura will run wraps around you." Okay, well, where's the data? I just find it funny when I like post actual data, and they're like, "Oh, they could run circles around you." Well, they didn't. I mean, open invitation to make your case, but you didn't actually make a case. So anyway, I think that stuff is interesting, but it really ticks me off. All right. Well, let's see what people are saying. Algonaut says, everybody smash the like button, support Frugal. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. So I wonder if they applied to spot ETH ETF and it'll be a second failed, or when is the deadline to approve it? Well, it sounds like there's the last thing we just read is that there's like this SEC holdup. So they filed an amendment is the latest thing after the SEC like had some issues with the way they were structuring their thing. So I'm gonna have to respond to those at some point. Let's see what else we got. Well, furthering it, hold on. Breaking: users perform more transactions on Algorand in the first 4 months of 2024 than all of 2023 combined. I'm going to read that again. More users perform more transactions on Algorand in the first 4 months of 2024 than all of 2023 combined. Again, how is that a zombie chain? How is it a zombie chain? It's not. How is it a zombie chain if transactions are growing? Listen, if it was going the other way, I could totally understand if all these like projects were falling apart and there was all this promise, but that promise wasn't being fulfilled. I would totally get calling it a zombie chain. And I'm just sticking with Algorand because I know it the most. If they had listed Hedera on there, I probably could make that case as well. But I don't understand why Algorand's on the list. And it didn't really make a case for any of them. I think going through even a few of them, even if it wasn't Algorand, they went through a few others and said, well, let me see, is it really a zombie? Let's look at some of these metrics. They don't cite any metrics. It's just kind of pathetic.